Boruto just underwent a whole 3 years worth of training, and his new powers are insane. And Kishimoto may have even leaked Boruto's new jougan, so make sure to watch until the end of the video to see what I mean by this. So Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 1 didn't really have that much coverage of Boruto, but what we did see is extremely important when we determine Boruto's new timeskip strength and his abilities. Let's first of all look at what Boruto likely would have been training with Sasuke. Before we left off for the timeskip, the last time we really saw Boruto in combat was against Code. This was the first time that Boruto used the Karma V2 that we primarily see Kawaki using now. So in this form, Boruto had the Byakugan, and it was stated by Code that in this new form, he was actually harnessing the full potential of his Karma. Essentially, all the thousands of years of experience that Momoshiki had gained through not only combat, but the experience from the chakra fruits was all accessible for Boruto. And therefore in this form, Boruto gained the upper hand against Code. Code before removing his limiters was not an easy opponent by any means, even though he was being clowned on like every other chapter it seemed. I saw a comment the other day, which I thought was hilarious, but it said that Code couldn't even find a W in a bowl of alphabet cereal or alphabet spaghetti, which is so true. My boy was head over heels for Ada, and not only did she leave him for Kawaki, but she got her little brother to destroy him after he achieved his life goal of removing his limiters. We really need some justice for Code from Kishimoto. As of right now, he's literally just created a walking L, and he's supposed to be one of our main villains. Anyways, Code was supposed to be a threat far beyond Jigen without his limiters, and the 8-year-old managed to clap his ass back into hiding. So Code before removing his limiters was said to be stronger than both Naruto and Sasuke combined. Although it is important to note that this version was Naruto without Kurama and Sasuke without his Rinnegan. But these two are still stronger than literally every character in the series except probably Code, Damon and Kawaki. So this jump in power was absolutely huge for Boruto, and this was his first time unlocking this power. Therefore it's clear that he still doesn't have anywhere near a full understanding of how to use the abilities he gained from this power up. So Boruto during his training with Sasuke would likely have focused on utilising the full power of the Byakugan, as well as harnessing the full power of his Otsutsuki genetics. So we can see that Kawaki now has the ability to fly, and Amado before the timeskip said that both Kawaki and Boruto would gain the ability to fly soon enough, due to their Otsutsuki genetics. So Boruto likely would have gained this ability too, and as a matter of fact, we kind of saw this when he appeared above Code. It seemed as though he must have been flying in order to actually get above him in this instance. This is because Boruto likely would have either appeared from a portal above Code, or been flying through the village at the time. So it definitely isn't far-fetched at all to say that Boruto now has the ability to fly. I mean, so him, Kawaki and Ada are the only people who are able to fly, and Ada really isn't strong like at all without Damon. Boruto is going to have the significant upper hand against the rest of the people in the verse who can't fly. I explained this in my video about Kawaki, which if you haven't watched, you should go check out once you're done with this video. But due to Momoshiki, Boruto should already be experienced with fighting whilst flying, due to Boruto gaining Momoshiki's fighting experience. What's more is Boruto's attack will become a lot more difficult to dodge if he forces his opponent to jump into the air with him. We saw back in Boruto Part 1, when Boruto used Lightning Release against Naruto in the air, it forced Naruto to use a Shadow Clone to block this attack. And that's only like a portion of Boruto's full arsenal of jutsu. Okay, so next up we have the fact that Boruto could use his Vanishing Rasengan in a different form. So ninjutsu really isn't going to work much against Kawaki due to him literally having 2 counters to any of these attacks. Not only can he shrink them, but he can also absorb it using his Karma. Therefore, the only get around for this would be using something that Kawaki can't detect. But being totally honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Kawaki's eye could detect the Vanishing Rasengan. So Sasuke actually was the one who saw Boruto develop this, and knows best the capabilities of this Rasengan. When Momoshiki took over Boruto's body, he made a new attack called the Rasendan, which was a Rasengan in the form of a gun. So in combination with the Compression Rasengan, and if using it with Lightning Chakra, this would mean that technically Boruto could deal significant damage with ninjutsu. But what would make this attack even more deadly is the use of Shadow Clones. So if Kawaki saw Boruto forming a Rasengan, he would likely just shrink it before Boruto could actually launch it. So if Boruto was to use Shadow Clones instead of this, then he could actually catch Kawaki off guard. Boruto being a prodigy is already proficient in using Shadow Clones in combat. whereas Kawaki only knows the basics of chakra control and creating shadow clones. Not only this, but Kawaki, due to his ideologies about how an individual should train in order to become stronger, likely would have focused on using karma rather than chakra control or using ninjutsu. Boruto is an extremely tactical fighter, whereas Kawaki is just someone who will attack relentlessly until his opponent is dead. And I'll cover a lot more about Boruto vs Kawaki in one of my future videos, so stay tuned for that one as well. And this is why Boruto will actually gain the edge over Kawaki, even though currently he has an inferior dojutsu. Alrighty, so next up we have Boruto's karma seal abilities. Previously, Boruto struggled to control his ability to create portals to new dimensions, as well as failing to control where these portals would actually appear. But if Boruto was actually able to master this ability, it would mean that, say he was losing to Kawaki, then he would be able to travel to a different dimension in order to escape Kawaki. This further allows Boruto to use his tactical mind to his advantage. Like I just explained, Boruto will only be able to gain the edge over Kawaki using tactics rather than sheer strength. And training with Sasuke, who's arguably the most intelligent shinobi when it comes to battle IQ, alongside Momoshiki's intelligence, which seemed to be superior to any other Otsutsuki we have seen previously, Boruto should be able to outwit all of his opponents in the show, especially people like Code and Damon, who are even more stupid than Kawaki, and would easily fall for any of Boruto's tricks. And this is why I'm so excited for Boruto Part 2, because I feel like we're going to see a lot more of a tactical side to their fights, rather than just straight up taijutsu, which I feel like we've been slightly lacking in Boruto Part 1, especially towards the end of it, when most of the fights were just flashy taijutsu, a bit of ninjutsu mixed in there. But I want to see more of that Naruto Part 1 style fight, where there's a lot of tactics involved, if that makes sense. We also see in Boruto's new timeskip design that he uses a sword. Boruto's whole design actually is very similar to Sasuke, with him using gloves now alongside that cloak, which looks amazing on him. But to anyone speculating that Sasuke has died because Boruto is wearing his cloak, that is actually not true. This cloak is not the same as Sasuke's one, and it instead uses the accent colours from Boruto's previous design, or the jacket he used to wear. Boruto's design also includes him wearing a necklace with a bolt on it, which is obviously in reference to the use of the play on words of his name. His name in Japanese actually means bolt, and his uncle Neji means screw. But I'm sure you've already heard this a million times by now, so let's just cover Boruto's sword. So Boruto with a sword actually makes a lot of sense, as Sasuke, the one training Boruto, is probably the most proficient kenjutsu user in the entire series. But I have one big problem with Boruto using a sword so frequently. So in the flash forward sequence, we saw that Boruto was also using a sword. But my question is, how does Kawaki not shrink this sword? My only explanation for this is actually one of Boruto's shadow clones who has used the substitution jutsu and then transformed into a sword. But leave your explanation on how this could work in the comments down below. And don't you dare say Sasuke transformed into a sword, because that would be some absolute BS. Unless he actually stops being a sword at some point and comes out to fight. Imagine for the entirety of the series, he's just a sword. The memes would be crazy if Sasuke was relegated from the strongest in the series to being Boruto's sword. But what's more about this is Code has likely had multiple fights during the time skip, as Code now has a scar over his left eye. A lot of people are speculating that this could have been a new dojutsu for Code, but I can't think of any logical way Code has stolen anyone's dojutsu, including Sasuke's. So it's either Boruto or Kawaki has given him this scar. And being so, it seems as though this is the first time, or one of the first times, that Code has attacked the village. I doubt that Kawaki was the one to give him the scar, and instead I believe that it was Boruto. Code likely encountered Boruto a few times during this time skip, and forced Boruto to change locations, as near the beginning of the time skip, Boruto likely would have had no chance against this version of Code. But later on, as he has gotten stronger, he was able to scar Code's eye through slashing it with his sword. So if this was the case, then Boruto would have already been a threat far beyond Jougan, and would likely have surpassed or be close to surpassing Damon. But what was so impressive for Boruto on his entrance would be the fact that he either teleported onto the scene or was so fast that he went completely undetected by Konoha and Kawaki. But either way, Boruto was able to easily stomp on Code without him even reacting to Boruto appearing. Also, it's important to note that Boruto actually stomped on the same side that Code's scar was. I saw Naruto say something along these lines, but essentially this could be Boruto threatening to slash Code's other eye. So say Boruto was the one to slash it in the first place, then this idea would make sense. And I actually like this theory quite a bit. But the reason I think that Boruto has unlocked the jougan here is because of Code and Boruto having these fights during the time skip. So Code would likely know Boruto's abilities, and for this to make sense, let's say that Code was searching for Boruto and calling his name while Boruto was in another dimension. Boruto then would have heard this and then come to fight Code. So Code, when he told Sarada to call out for Boruto, likely knew that Boruto could hear Sarada through his dimension. And yes, this is one of the Jougan's abilities, as it was stated in one of Boruto's novels that the Jougan could have this ability. But with the Jougan, Boruto would be even more insane, but the Jougan's abilities would require an entirely new video, so I will leave it there for Boruto's abilities. If you want to see a part 2 to this video, then make sure to let me know in the comments down below, as I still have things to cover like Boruto having the ability to stop time, or Boruto having the ability to see into the future. So if you want to see another part, then yeah, comment that down below and I'll make sure to do that, if enough people comment that they want to see that. Also, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like, and if you want to support the channel, then make sure to subscribe. All of your guys' support is muchly appreciated. And we are on the road to getting 1,000 subscribers now. But with that all said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.